we're from the Paddock Speedshop, and our partnership with Motul has been going on for, say, about a year and a half now. Yeah. They came in as a lubricants partner, but very quickly we learned that they're not just a lubricants partner at all. In fact, they can supply us with all the lubricants we need in the speed shop, cleaners, degreasers. The BioClean parts washer has been an absolute godsend. So our affiliation with them has opened doors to us, frankly. It's not only got us the cars lubricated, all the oil we could ever dream of, and all the supporting tools that we need in the workshop, but it's actually the reason we're here today. It's actually the reason Harvey's behind the wheel of that Cobra that's going to be running today at 3:53.
My partnership with Motul has opened me into what's really been a lifelong dream of racing. It'd always been, I'd love to do that, but thanks to Motul, now I'm actually doing it. It's been a very hectic last 8 weeks of trying to get our license to National B spec, which you need to race at the Silverstone Festival. And I've been doing that in the Citroen C1. I did one race in the Cobra, so that this isn't my first one, and I know the car. But it's been fantastic. Very busy, but busy in the right way.
Of course, we'd set out to do 4 restoration pieces. The MGB 1973, which is my first car. The intention was to build the perfect modern sports car in a classic, shell. It'll still have MGB panels, it's Sebring style. It'll still have an MGB 4-cylinder engine. We'll probably put a master box on, we'll see. Then there was the Morris Minor, which was supposed to be our race car, a ground-up, built for the hill climb car with a Morris Minor shell dropped on top, space frame chassis, transverse engine in the back. It would have been brilliant. It will be brilliant. And then, of course, there's a Resto-mod gone wrong. We're putting right by somebody at Mini Mayfair, and just your classic been bodged around over a few years, and it just needs to be put back to square one and done right. And then we were going to do a restoration piece, no modifications, on a 1971 or 2 DBS Vantage, straight 6, very rare car. So really excited with that. But yeah, we're racing here today because in January, one of our friends of the brand, friends of the magazine, a subscriber, came to us at a gallery meeting we were at with Ray Rossi. Fantastic night, and he was so enthused and so pleased by everything that had been put on by that kind of little group that he said, hey, I've got a 260 Cobra, isn't it? Yeah, 260 Cobra, 1962, and said, do you want to race it this year? And then we sort of looked at each other and went, we really should say no, but we really can't do that. And so it came to the speed shop, we had a look underneath it, we've seen the FIA papers, we were really happy with it, but as soon as you start to actually shake the car down, we got it out to a few meets, just to raise awareness that today was coming. And we've learned in the last 8 weeks, whilst also trying to prep and maintain the C1, that car had a few bits of fettling that needed to be done. We needed to test it, make sure Harvey was confident behind the wheel, and somehow we're here now, we got it all done. We're really looking forward to getting it on track. We're not expecting it to be that competitive, are we?
No, the car's mainly built in road spec. It's been a road car for quite a long time. We've built it up so it's safe for the track and it'll do the job, but we're not looking to get any kind of amazing results from it. I mean, everything else on grid that shouldn't be faster than a Cobra is much quicker than our car because they're prepared for Silverstone Festival, and ours really was more of a road car. We haven't done any engine work on it.
Yeah. So. Look, the original purpose of Paddock Speedshop was, it came about because, I learned to drive when I was, 10, 11, because I was fortunate enough that my dad had a track day business, so I could just take any of these dream cars that kids have, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and because I was a tall, lanky kid, I could reach the pedals and go. So it was fun. But they were never special to me, and I always remember Dad came back one day from a show he'd been at, something like this, with a Shelby GT350 Mustang kind of print painting for me, and I fell in love with it. It was this square, strange white car with chrome bumpers, and I just thought, what's that? That's amazing. So for me, that supercar moment was classic cars. So come my 17th birthday, I've got my MGB that's got these chrome bumpers. I'm thinking, yeah, I've made it. This is brilliant. I start driving it every day, and people are waving at me, and it's wherever I go is a conversation, and it's always a story every journey. And I thought, that's a great thing. Why don't more people get to share it? What's stopping young people my age from just taking that leap, that step, and just getting into classic cars? Because there's so many benefits that outweigh, just a regular sort of early 90s first car. I mean, you had a Metro for a bit, and that's, by no means a classic. It's going to be a future one, but it still carries the same effect, doesn't it? If you drive something old and eclectic that's associated with people's memories, then you get help, you become part of a community, and that was the point. Paddock Speedshop was to get the next generation of drivers, our age, younger, 17, I'm 24 now, but to get them into the classic car world, so that events like this, so that communities like ours can just continue to grow, continue to thrive. We get to keep cars that, perhaps people would have thrown away and discarded and left them to rot. We get to keep using them. So there's a wonderful sustainability element that's big abroad, and I'm sure it's going to make a bigger hit here soon. I think there's so much white noise about electrification and whatnot. The truth is, let's just maintain what we have. Let's make the best of it. Let's let it evolve to suit us. Let's keep some of it exactly the way it was as wonderful pieces of history. But the main point is a young driver who is, confident and ready to be competent can learn these very binary mechanics and just grow with their car. And I think that's a really special thing.
So I actually work in classic car restoration as well. I have for the past year. I used to work at a race preparation company, and now I work at restoration for Porsches. But everyone there are that kind of what you'd imagine the stereotype for someone who works on classic cars. Old, very wise, but definitely in the older end of the spectrum. But the college I actually go to, Heritage Skills Academy, they're all around my age, doing an apprenticeship, but linked with an employer, and that was quite nice to see because it gave hope for the show for me, because it was around 180 people there. It's not a big scale thing, but they're all people my age with very similar passions for old cars racing, which meant that there is a niche that we can find, and there's a point to the show. It's not just going to have a great time making it, sell, people watch it and think, oh, that was nice. Anyway, back to my Astra. So it was nice to see that we've got a base that we can see and inspire more people to kind of follow suit and buy their classic cars.
We want people to return to having a pride in motoring. I think that's what's really been lost. I couldn't put a date on the decade, but I went through university. The day I turned 17, I learned to drive, and I'd wanted to do that since the day I was turned 10 and could understand cars, or younger perhaps. But then amongst my peers, even mates that like cars, some of them still don't drive. We went to university and they're like, oh, I'll learn afterwards. It's like, I just want to see a world where young people get their first set of car keys and once again have this, this joy of freedom, this like, I can take the world, I can do whatever I want. And I think being able to do that in a car that's a true expression of yourself, because you've been able to maintain it, you've been able to restore it, to upgrade it, to modify it, to make it safer, to make it quicker, whatever it may be, I think that's a really nice pride to have that only nurtures, an interest in the industry. It nurtures people into wanting to go and work in a more professional environment, such as where Harvey works. It makes people want to do a more casual thing, such as we do, which is, tinkering at home, going to car meets, just growing social circles. Because I think everybody's missing that, especially since the lockdown and, it all got closed off. The one thing that was able to thrive was car meets. And I think that proves that there's definitely a love in here, in this country, in the world, to, just get together in a field, talk about what we've done and just share stories and share memories. And bringing young people into classic cars is going to bridge a very big gap between those that grew up with the classics and us that see them as nothing but things of the past. And I think we need to bridge that gap and bring everybody together. And I think classic cars is how you do it.
What's even better is I'm starting to convince my boss to move over to racing as well. Because there's nothing to me better than the golden era of racing for me is the 60s, 70s and 80s, just perfect. And we only really work on the older stuff at my work, so we'll be racing that, and then I really am doing my hobby and get paid for it. So it's fantastic, and I can, hopefully with the show, we can show people that that's possible, because a lot of people get into a job that they hate and they stay there for their whole life, and then all sorts of problems spew from that. But if people can see that what you really enjoy, you can get into it no matter what your age is or what everyone around you likes. You just do what you like, and if you like cars, there is an option for us younger generations.
We bring on these sponsors such as Motul, such as HB Body, such as Merca, such as you name it. We've got a very long list of insurance companies, Footman James. As soon as you bring those people on, the bar just raises and raises and raises of what you have to produce, not just in the cars themselves, but the fit and the finish and the polish of the show. We're looking at a cinematic level delivery that we really want people, whether they're into cars, not into cars, whether they're families, whether they're kids binging it in one go in a night, we want everybody to enjoy this show. So at the moment, we are going headstrong to release in 2 sets. It's a 10-part series, 1 hour long. We want to go, the first 5 episodes will come out just before Christmas, most likely around the December time. Everybody else will then go and have a lovely Christmas. The 3-4 of us will spend it all in the speed shop, building these cars, getting them churned out so that you can see the next 5 episodes before Easter, and then we can spend the summer out at shows together once again with our 4 cars, whatever race car we've got on the go, meeting people, and more importantly, filming episode 2 and just building and building and building this little cult following and community that we want to foster.